Caucus, now New Jersey Democrat, Congressman Josh Gottheimer. He co-chairs the bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus. And Congressman, it's good to see you.
Hey, Joe.
I'm going to start it this way. I don't know how much schadenfreude the Democrats really had watching the Republican caucus through that saga, that soap opera, or whatever you want to call it. But I would have to say Americans just looking at Congress, now they're watching Democrats. And when you see the squad and some of the comments and some of the things that we've seen after October 7th, I mean, your house needs to be fixed a little bit, too, I would say. And are you a person that thinks that we're going to tell the only democratic nation in the Middle East, are we going to have strings attached to how they use the aid? Is that our position, to tell Israel what it needs to do for its own self-preservation, as if someone could tell us
Absolutely not. We can't.
How come you've got so many people in your party that what do you do when you pass them in the halls? What do you say, Josh?
I mean, right now, not much. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think the idea of putting any conditions on aid to our key Democratic ally, which is key to protecting America's national security after they've been attacked by terrorists, by Hamas, who butchered, decapitated, raped, and so many innocent people, including, by the way, dozens of Americans, and nearly 10 Americans remain hostage. The idea that we would try to tie the arms of our key ally while Iran, Russia, and China continue to work together with Hamas to inflict harm on our key ally, and by the way, Iranian-backed proxies continue to attack the United States of America, right? And the Houthis, and we've seen it from Iraq and Syria, and obviously we've got conflict up in Hezbollah in the north of Lebanon. So the idea that we would do anything to get in the way of what President Biden has clearly laid out are our objectives, right? Which is to get the hostages home and to make sure that we crush and kill Hamas and the terrorist organizations, and of course provide humanitarian aid, which I believe is also key to our objectives.
It's a little bit weird. It's hard to, I called it a bizarro world, but it's hard to figure out who's who in the political spectrum right now. So you're on the side of most of the Republicans that don't want any strings attached. But lots
by the way, I think most of the
Democrats.
I would say that you're talking about 90+% of the Democrats don't want strings. Don't want strings attached. You're talking about a very vocal minority of people who are making the noise here. Yeah.
What about the Biden administration? Because I think for the most part, Israel probably feels like they have a very solid ally in the Biden administration. And yet I hear some things from Secretary of State Blinken where I don't know. I get some conflicting signals. Do you feel that way, or do you feel that it's 100%, there's no waffling on how to approach this?
No, I mean, I think like any good friend that we have conversations. We should have private conversations. But at the end of the day, well, I think the public the public face is very clear. The resolve is incredibly strong. I mean, the president was over there on day 3 of the conflict, first president to sit at the war cabinet, right? I mean, you're talking about an incredible commitment because there's a recognition of how critical Israel is as the democracy in the region to our national security, right? To our fight against terror, to stability in the region. So, I think there's no question here of what we need to do, which is to make sure we back our key ally. This is a tough situation. You saw Hamas break the ceasefire this morning, right, early, and start firing rockets into Israel again. I'm glad we were able to get many of the hostages out, including Americans, which again I believe is critical, and people should talk about that every day. That Americans were killed here, Americans remain hostage. We need to protect, our citizens, and that's key as well. And we know what Hamas wants to do, which is, then they've made it clear. They have said, their leadership, they'll do a second, a third, a fourth, a millionth October 7th. They won't stop. Their objective is to destroy Israel and to kill the Jewish people, right? That's their objective. It's in their charter. They're not shy about it.
Well, I'm gratified that you think you've got the administration on your side. I'm not sure certain parts of what I read in the media is on board, Josh. And if Hamas was going to write a playbook for how how to change public sentiment. You can almost see it.
Right.
You can almost see it happening, and I don't know.
I think Joe, that's exactly right. I mean, the number for me, one of the greatest lessons we've learned so far is just how powerful the disinformation machine is out of China. Right, out of working with Iran and Russia. We've seen it we've seen it in past elections, but with TikTok, with 150 million Americans being fed disinformation every single day, you see what happens on college campuses, in the country.